Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with Learn Plan Profit. Hope you guys are all having a good start to the morning. Today is July 11th, so 7/11, Thursday, and today is the natural gas report. Natural gas report is going to be out in about 27 minutes. So what that means is the report is coming out. It's either going to drive the price up or down for natural gas, which will then have a direct correlation to the correlating ETFs such as UYAS and DYAS. So it's one of my favorite days trading in the week. But regardless of how much I want to trade it, one of the things that I just want to remind you guys is, especially for today, right? When the report does come out, one of the things that we notice that happens very often is, one pushes up and one pushes down. It's, very difficult to predict which one's going to push up, and that's not ever an approach that I try to take. But I usually go for the dip by reversal. Confirmation is key. So until you see higher highs and until you actually see it recovering, one of the biggest things that I would encourage you to do is to don't be afraid to take a step back and be extremely selective with what with what you choose to trade. Alrighty, here we go. So I'm gonna start sharing my screen so you guys can see exactly my TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim platform and what it is that I am looking at. So I've seen a lot of people within our chat today talk about /CL, talking about UWT, DWT, and stuff like that, right? So it looks like the overall highs for UWT, right, and /CL tend to be around like 680 to around almost like 61, right? And the overall support range is like this bottom VWAP, right around like 60-40 to around like 60-50, if we can say that, right? So I just like to have a better understanding of the overall high points and low points. And right now it looks like it hit one of those high points. It did a triple top, and then now it got rejected. It's below the EMA line. It looks like it's below the SMA line and that middle VWAP as well. So just a little heads up on that, right? That you're familiar with the pattern, you're familiar with the direction, and you're familiar with the overall way that it's trading. So here we go. What's going on, Trey? What's up? What's up? So I have all my alerts set up for this natural gas report. How do you guys feel about this report? So one of the things that we've noticed for natural gas is it's definitely been showing signs of, like, if you guys go on the 5-day, 5-minute chart, it's been pretty bullish the past couple of days. Based off of recent patterns, it's been doing very well, right? So it was selling off, and if you look at the 180-day analysis, there's no question you could see that this was an aggressive sell-off. But for the past couple of days, it's definitely been showing signs of a consistent uptrend, right? Especially one of the days when it went from 230 all the way up to highs around like 245, which is huge. I think it had like a 15% day or something like that. And I think this was like either Friday or something like that, where it drove the price up very aggressively, which I think is great. But one of the things that I want to point out is that as something pushes up, especially when it pushes up very aggressively, it's bound to pull back. And I think you can see this a little bit more clear on the 5-day, 5-minute chart. Again, the overall direction is in favor of natural gas, and it has been showing signs of an uptrend. Why is that? There's two factors, and correct me if I'm wrong, or share your own kind of like data that you've either like read about, but two factors that I've noticed that have driven the price up for natural gas. The overall weather forecast, right? Due to the weather forecast, it was in favor of natural gas. So there's been a couple little pushes, that have driven the price up for natural gas itself. One of the other things is that the consumption, right, a direct correlation of the weather, and then how much people use when it comes down to, or just overall consumption of natural gas, also does have a pretty big factor. So that's just something that I want to point out. One of the other things that I've noticed, and again, this is just something that I want to point out if you're trading UWT or DWT, is that natural gas and the natural gas report sometimes, and I've noticed this, and this is why I'm saying it, sometimes does have an effect on crude oil, and I mean on UWT and DWT and this correlating ETFs. If the reason that natural gas either is driven up or down, and there's a factor that crude oil can have an effect on it, I've seen it have an impact where it does either drive the price up or down for UWT and DWT. So just want to make sure that you guys are all aware of that if you would feel more comfortable closing out all your positions before the report comes out, that's an option, right? Maybe another reason to lock in profits. But I just wanted to make sure that I share, due to my understanding and my experience, how I would prepare for this and kind of go off of that. So hey Ricky, just wanted to say that, and that was an excellent positive recap of a very red day yesterday. The hardest thing for me to do in the past years has been learning to deal with the red days and pot. Yep, I 100% agree. So we're off to a bad start for today. I thought today was going to be equally as bad. I've taken a couple bad trades, and I'll be showing them in just a little bit. I saw natural gas a little bit more on the overbought side, so I'm feeling just fine right now. But yeah, man, there's no easy way to put it. I've just been really struggling the past 2 days, and it really does almost, for someone like myself that has been trading for years, and for someone like myself that has been consistently profitable, it still does take a hit, not at my ego, but just on my confidence, right? And it's kind of like a Debbie Downer. And there's no easy way to put it. It's just you just need to remind yourself that you have to be extremely selective. And I thought it was, and even when I tried to wait for confirmation, even then, one of the things that I have to remind myself is just and something that I state time after time is, how important it is to, not every plan has to go according to plan. It's just that, right? And one of the things that I noticed is that as I saw natural gas hit highs around 2.48, right? And then it aggressively sold off. It began to pick up. I saw that it was a little bit more on the overextended side. I waited for confirmation, and as it sold off, I got in, and I got in pretty aggressively. I didn't lock in profits. I thought this was an early stage of lower lows. So again, none of this has happened. I got in an early stage of lower lows, and then it just began to recover. And as it began to recover, I thought it was actually making higher highs. I cut losses, and I was down quite a bit. So right now, as it's around this general area, I'm still down in the thousands, and I'll be closing out my position, especially before the natural gas report, regardless of how much I'm up or down. But I've been seeing kind of a lot of consolidation. One of the things that I'm noticing right now, and again, this can 100% change, is we're kind of just consolidating here. We're not really making higher highs. We're not really making lower lows. So, we're really riding this middle view up. And this is normally what happens when, a pattern or a direction is about to change. And we usually experience this from pre-market to aftermarket, or pre-market to market open. So it's just something that I wanted to wait out for. I'm about to sneeze, so give me 1 second. Ooh, oh man, that was a beautiful sneeze. But yeah, it definitely sucks, to say the least. So why aren't you set up with a stop loss right now? I actually have an order ready to sell. I don't have a stop loss just because I still don't see there to be necessarily a break-if pattern. It's just I'm trading with a large enough dollar amount that it does have an effect, right? Appreciate you guys. Thank you. But yeah, I just wanted to give it a little bit more time, and definitely a stop loss can definitely be very effective. I just don't have one set up as of right now. So here we go. It looks like it was gonna try to show signs of a downtrend, right? And it bounced. This middle VWAP has been killer today. It's been an absolute sometimes it does break a little bit below it, but again, these are just indicators. These are just lines, right? They're not exact price points, and that's something that you all have to understand. It's just been doing an absolute amazing job around this general area, that it's been building a support, right? And if you could see for the past at least 30 minutes to an hour around this general area of 2471 and 2472, it's been building a pretty strong resistance. So we're either going to see a push up or a push down, and I'm going to have to trade according to that. So yeah, here we go. So we have about 18 minutes until the natural gas report comes out. So just a little heads up on that. 18 minutes. So we have a couple people talking about AMD, aggressive pullback. I like this. Thank you again for. So it is extremely overbought. I think that we could agree. So this could be one of two things. And what is this? Let me, a little pop-up quiz. What is this? Is this, something that is pulling back, or is this something that is, selling off? What would you say, in your opinion, based off of previous patterns? Is this something that is pulling back, or is this something that is selling off? And whatever you choose, why is it? Why is that? So pullback, right? Because it still hasn't broken its pattern. There's been multiple times that it becomes overextended and then it pulls back to the EMA line. It's not until we begin to make lower lows and we actually break the original pattern that it then becomes a sell-off. That's how I view it, right? Where you always want to make sure that you identify a pattern, and that if it's still staying true to that pattern, regardless if it's up or down, or if it's still within that range, or the series of indicators where you saw that pattern, then it's still, in a sense, this would be viewed in my eyes as a pullback. If this thing begins to continue to sell off and make lower lows and completely break its pattern, that's where I then begin to see a sell-off, a break of pattern, and stuff like that. So it looks like we just broke below the middle view up, so we'll give that a little bit more time and see how that plays out. But yeah, just wanted to kind of give you a heads up. Yeah, it could potentially bounce here, but it could also potentially continue to sell off. Looking at the MACD and looking at the RSI, I think that there might be a high possibility that it might continue to sell off. And a little incentive for you to maybe be a little bit more patient is for the potential sell-off down to the SMA line. Again, the more patient that you are and the more that you allow it to sell off, the larger the margin of profit you build for yourself. Think about it. It's a very I think unique way to think about it, but I think with that mindset, it could go a very long way. So I'll just do my part and I'll set my alerts. You guys can do what you want with it. It doesn't mean that you need to trade it or anything like that. And if this thing begins to then show signs of an uptrend, we'll go ahead and we'll set our alerts, and then we'll kind of go from there. We'll also set our alerts if this thing begins to make higher highs. And I'm just going to set one more alert, and that's if we begin to actually get closer to this overall SMA line. So quite a bit of alerts, but I find that to be pretty effective. And again, that is just my opinion and based off of preference. So just take it as that. So why is DRIP making such a push? Is there a correlation between /CL? Let's see. Not too sure. Let's see. Okay. I would look into this. This one's kind of a mix of, if I'm not mistaken, this is a mix between, for drip, isn't it like crude oil? And I don't know what it is. It's a different type of oil that does have an influence or correlation to /CL, but not a direct correlation. So just something to kind of keep in mind. So all right, sold my position for DGAS. I just wanted to close it out, and yikes. Whoa, I didn't sell my entire position. Bummer. Okay, that's why. Okay. I took a secondary position when it was down here, but I don't know why that's still showing to be like that. Yeah, it definitely should not. Okay. It's still a very ugly trade, to say the least. Yeah. So I did good with my second position. I got in at an average purchase price of $127.20. I got in with about $40,000, and I sold right around, so I made $1, right? So I made about like $400. Well, no, about $310 because I had 310 shares that I bought that. So I think that I can make it back. I truly do think so. You guys can see here, I'm down $2,071, and I'm up on the open about $100. The open doesn't really matter. I'm down about $2,100, and there it goes. Huge pullback, and again, we're just getting a lot of consolidation around natural gas. So to think about it, the way that I'm trying to think about it is I have a 2% margin to get back in the green. That's the way that I'm trying to think about it, where, I think I could still make my money if this thing pushes up, and then around this general area, I'll buy Diaz again and then sell it back down here. But it might be it might be very risky because it's very close to the natural gas support. I'm thinking, out loud. The other thing is I could wait for the natural gas report. I could wait for whichever one pushes up and pushes down. And normally there is a 2% margin of recovery. So then I can think about it like that, right? Which could be very effective as well. So, a 2% margin is kind of what I'm looking at just to get back in the green. So it sucks, but I think this is it's better to do this, I guess, early within the day than later throughout the day, right? Because then later throughout the day, much less demand, much less volume, and much slower movement. Usually, not always, but usually. Looks like we might be getting rejected by the SMA line. This is going to be the first. If we do get rejected, I would be really happy just for the overall direction and the sake of natural gas to be making lower lows. But we'll see. We'll set those alerts, but it sucks. 2 consecutive red days. It's been a while, but what's up, right? On another note, I have Cheerios, but I have no milk, so that's a real bummer. I love that. David Morgan is red is the new green. Hey. /CL sell-off. Okay, so we're back at that potential support. Thank you again for the heads up. A lot of you guys thank you, all of you guys, right? So pulling back, right? Now it's around that general support area. Patterns tend to repeat themselves. They don't have to. So that means that UWT might be at a potential support. That means that DWT, based off previous patterns, might be at a potential resistance. One of the things that I want you to know is that the overall direction can now begin to change, because now instead of trading in between, the middle and top VWAP, now we're trading between the middle and bottom VWAP. So we might be actually making lower lows and lower highs now. Just a little heads up. We don't know until we get that confirmation. So patience is key. All right. That was so weird. I think my TOS is a little delayed. I got the alert first on my phone and not on, that was really weird. Okay, looks like I missed the bounce. Looks like I missed the bounce. Looks like it, so again, remember the pattern that we talked about where natural gas was getting rejected around here? I tried to get filled here when natural gas was here, on degas, right? But it just pushed up and then sold off a little bit too quickly. So it would have made sense, and it looks like it already fulfilled almost that entire flow. So from around 127.40, it's not a huge margin. It's actually very small. It's about 0.75%. So do you always trade the same stocks? Not necessarily, but I do have a very strong focus on ETFs, which should come as no surprise if you've watched any of my videos on YouTube, which you probably should have, right? All right, all right, all right. Here we go. So we got 7 minutes left. 7 minutes left until that natural gas report. What's going on, Chase? What's up? What's up? Ricky with the clapback. What does that mean? Was my response? I didn't mean my response to be offensive in any way. Dang, natural gas is bouncing real quick. Ricky, have you switched over to toaster strudels yet? No. Might have to. They actually sound pretty good, but no. You should do a Cheerios ASMR stream. I don't know what that is. Woohoo! Wow. Wow, wow, wow. This would have been nice to have my entire position on, but wow. What do you know? Holy smokes. My goodness. That would have been a nice little push. If I would have gotten fill, again, coulda, shoulda, woulda, at 127.60 and gotten fill there 1.1%, I still would have been down. So again, you can't control those factors. So just sold my position. I'm down 1,700. 1.8% is the goal today. No, I still want to go for like 2 to 3%. Not aggressively, but I think that, you know, with the natural gas support, we definitely have that. There's 5 minutes left. Again, there's a potential break of pattern here. There's 5 minutes left. Yes, degas can pull back. And this is normally probably what I would do, is because now this is overbought and overextended. I would then normally buy the dip on UGAS for a quick little recovery, which the margin definitely isn't worth it if you are under the PDT rule, especially with no confirmation. But yeah, it makes sense on why it can slowly recover, but one of the things that I want to remind you is we have 5 minutes left until a natural gas report. So let's just maybe be a little patient, right? Nothing wrong with that. So Matt L, have you completed the course? Oh, Tyler, okay. Appreciate the definition. So what's up? Fairly new to the channel and having a hard time remembering how you decide whether you are going to swing trade or day trade these ETF reports. I never swing trade. I only day trade these reports. I've never approached it with a swing trade, but I appreciate the question. Again, I see it as a dip buy opportunity, and once I get that confirmation of a recovery, I'll then trade it. Do you get what I mean? So that's the approach. I don't try to predict the report. I trade after the report and then for that dip buy. So yeah, I appreciate the question though. Do you swing trade in general anymore? It's most likely. So I do have a Fidelity account, and that's the only one. That's my private account, and I've talked about it. If you've watched my videos long enough, I've talked about my Fidelity account. I don't have a ton of money I have a decent amount, not more than my 2-day Ameritrade, but I have about $50,000 or $60,000 in there, and I'll swing trade a series of stocks, but that's something that I, you know, kind of keep to myself, right? I also have a Charles Schwab account. I have a couple different accounts, but the one I day trade with is, you know, and the only one that I watch on a daily basis and use on a daily basis is, you know, my Thinkorswim account, which, yeah. What are your thoughts on swing trading a Roth? So Roth, you get taxed, right, as the money comes in. So up to you. It's your approach. So, wow, look at that recovery. I think swing trading in general, if there's a consistent pattern, right, a consistent pattern that makes sense and the opportunity cost is worth it, meaning the margin of profit is there, and you have that confirmation and the direction is in your favor, I love the approach of swing trading. It's very like, it could almost be viewed as like, not rental income or passive income, but something like that, right? Where you kind of do make money while you sleep, but it's because you know you're investing and not trading. Understand the difference. 2 minutes until the report comes out. Appreciate you, Danson. How's your day going, dude? How are you doing today? I like Fidelity or TD Ameritrade much better than Fidelity has better commission. Fidelity has better commissions to an extent. You can negotiate with both. With Fidelity, I think my commission is, $3.95 or something like that, and my commission here is $3. Crypto is killing me. I need to make some money on the report today. Let's not aggressively or revenge trade, right? Appreciate that, Danson. Happy to hear that. Is Tesla one of those swings? Tesla was one of those swings. It's not anymore. Are we going to be able to watch you trade the recovery of the report? I have nothing else to do. I have no other Q&A. So if it's okay with you guys, I don't mind, going live after for another maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes. So you guys let me know. 1 minute to the report. We have 15 seconds. Please close out any position you do not want to hold during this report. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom. And it's in favor of DGAS. I'm genuinely surprised. I'm 100% genuinely surprised on how this played out. Wow. And look at that recovery. Why aren't my trades showing? Oh my goodness. Dude, TOS is lagging like there's no tomorrow. Whoa. My TOS, do you guys see this? Do you guys see how bad this is lagging? Got that pullback. Wow. Oh man, it is one of those days. one of the things that I want, for those that are asking, why did I choose to go for degas? One of the things that I saw, and again, could be my mistake, is natural gas was beginning to change direction, if that makes sense. So it was showing signs of an uptrend. It then began to consolidate, and right before the report, it began to break below the middle VWAP, and it was doing something that it wasn't normally doing. Because of that, I saw the direction beginning to change from uptrending to descending, right? And because of that, the report comes out. I saw this thing push down. I saw it recover very quickly, and it made sense to me on it's bound to continue to push down. I thought the volatility would still be there, but normally you don't see a complete change of direction. It has happened before, and I've seen it, but it's not something that normally happens where, it'll have, if we look at like UGAS, for instance, right, where right before the report comes out, I think we're right around this general area, it has a 2% push on one side, and then it recovers like 1% on the other side. It normally doesn't do that. Doesn't mean that it's impossible. It just means that it normally doesn't do that. But yeah, anything can happen. That's a perfect example. All right. Oh, there it goes. So, oh, and there goes degas. A lot of volume right now. Trying to relax. Do you see this volatility? We don't want to sell at the bottom, and we have to understand that the volume is super present right now. It's moving in like 1% increments. So it just hit pre-market highs for natural gas. If you guys could see that, it could still continue to make old, higher highs. So let's understand that. But it does look a little bit more on the overbought side. But again, anything can happen. The report was just released. If anything, I really think that this report almost came out in favor of natural gas. I think it went up just as much as it went down. Yep, just as much. It just changed directions. My cutting losses part should have been way over here. At this point, it overextended enough that it's now just bound to pull back. But yeah, I'm just going to wait for a pullback, and then I'll cut losses there. Yep. Appreciate the comment, brother. What's up? Yeah, I'm live right now. Natural gas is right at the EMA line, so it would make sense on why it can bounce here. So if you guys bought the dip on degas and wanted to lock in profits, I could 100% see why it could get rejected here. So just a little heads up on that. That was a really bad exit. Looks like I added another, yeah, and there it goes. My exit on that one was really bad, but looks like I added another 1,200 to my loss. So I'm at 3,100. Yeah. I see on natural gas some form of consolidation. So that is why I decided to. So we're kind of consolidating here where it used to have a resistance, which can become a new support. So again, I'm not trying to sell exactly where I bought at. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to like be like, oh, well, it has to at least go to like where I bought at, because it doesn't, right? But it wasn't showing signs of, continuous sell off. It looks like it now did break below it, which, can or cannot happen. So what's your longest losing streak? I don't know. It's not necessarily something I don't keep track of what's my longest winning streak nor my losing streak. I just try to take it day by day. But yeah, had a pretty bad loss yesterday, and I'm not off to the best start today. So I do apologize for letting you guys down on this. I should have done a much better job managing my risk. One of the biggest things is, first of all, my entry, and second of all, my exit. The natural gas report came out. I normally see there to be a lot of volatility. So I see the prices to be either very inflated or very, oversold, and the movement is just so active, right? So because of that, I usually like to give it more time. But like you guys saw, it didn't have to pull back, but normally it does. But there's multiple times that sometimes it can continue to uptrend throughout the entire day. One of the things that I've noticed based off of the last natural gas report, and you guys can feel free to check that out, is the report came out, whatever, it drove the price up of one, right? And then it pulled back right away, and there it goes, it's selling off. So it pulled back right away, and then it continued to push and sell off. So that's what I was looking for there to be a push, a pullback, and then a continuous push. So it looks like UGAS just broke below that. It looks like DGAS is right around 128. So it looks like it's up about $1 from where I was at. So yeah, definitely, like, it sucks. And I would have probably have been at break even around this area. But yeah, I still think that I can recover, but I'll probably just be aiming to break even today, which kind of sucks. But then again, this is a perfect example. Like, let me be a perfect example today of why it's so important to be selective, right? Not digging yourself in a bigger hole, but making sure that you feel comfortable and confident with your trade. And that sometimes, just because an opportunity possibly presents itself with like these natural gas reports and trying to take action right away, it might not be the best thing, because it could then again put you in a bad situation. These Cheerios are super dry, but again, we have so much time. We still have, holy smokes. Market's been open for about an hour and 7 minutes. So just know that, we definitely have time. I probably want to trade for about 2 more hours. So I'll be probably very active within the trade idea section. I really do appreciate you guys' time. I'm really sorry for letting myself down and letting you guys down when it comes down to my entry, that I should have not gone in so aggressively. Even if it did play out according to plan, there's a huge risk involved, and I have to accept that. Thank you guys again for everything it is that you guys do. I hope that you guys at least either learned something new or enjoyed today's live stream. I thought it was pretty eventful, of digging myself out of that little hole, putting myself back in, and then trying to dig myself back out. So really do appreciate you guys' time, and like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.